Draco's and Reader and Struggling here, and today's rant video is going to be comparing two gaming platforms that are very similar, which is Disney Infinity and Skylanders. Hang out while I tilt this thing. Now, here's a disclaimer that we only have Disney 3.0, which is for basically the little Star Wars figurines. Don't know anything about the first two, which I guess is Disney Infinity and Disney Infinity 2.0. My knowledge is based on the 3.0 and how the Star Wars figurines work on that. And then Skylanders, which is mine. This is actually my brother's, because he's a Star Wars fan. Okay. Can I set it nicely? Okay. Now, okay, didn't tilt that thing down far enough. Oops. That should be down far enough for you. And you still kind of see. Steep. In another video, I'll show you my Skylanders goodies. Okay, now, apart from this being for one of the later game series, I'm not sure if these new portals work with the older ones, nor do I know if the Disney Infinity has older play platforms. Portals of Power are different through each of the game releases. This rant is based on 3.0 and the Skylanders that I have. Now, for the most part, they work incredibly alike, which is you basically put these into their respective game systems. Now, this is PS4. I believe they also had it for PS3. Now I'm going to end up basically basic comparisons. And this is the PS3 system. You put the game disc into the system. You hook up these to said system, and then you put the figurine of your choice on said platform. Is that the right? Okay, yeah. And you play your game. Now, as you can see, the big difference between them is the Skylanders. The older ones have basically no lip around it to basically mean that you can like almost toss your characters out of the ring and they don't fall out easily. This one basically has pre-made cutouts for two characters, meaning two player, and a bell and a little bell set to add to this little. It's not quite hexagonal because it's not all even sides. Which this makes it interesting. Not to mention there are little add-ons for this that hopefully get those. I will do that in a moment. It's just basic, you put the figurines on, so on and so forth. Now, here comes the hitch that I think this is the one that it goes with. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Disney Infinity. Now, for this one, Luke does work in it. Now, I have actually a figurine for a different bow set. Now, you would think. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. In Skylanders, you can basically take. Do I have any? Okay, here we go. In Skylanders, you cannot go backwards with certain figures, but you basically have a green one, which basically is for the original Skylanders. It can easily go into whatever platform the orange base for this figurine is. Now, I cannot play this one in the same in the original Skylanders for coding reasons. But for the latest game that I have, which is Trap Team, all past figurines will work. It just says, visiting player, you wanted to join? Yes. Everyone basically cooperates together nicely in the latest game. Disney Infinity, though, they have to be of the same battle set. So you can easily just put this figurine on, but it says you have to then collect the coin for said figurine. You have to play through this, hope you find the character, and then you can play it. Or you might end up you will play through this, find the coin for the character. You do not have that character until sometime later. You're playing the game, but how do you know you have the coin for that character unless you basically just start popping characters on and off until basically that one is allowed, so you have to then almost make a list or something? I haven't tried to see if there is some place where it says you have collected these character coins. I will say, though, that I believe in the hub world for Disney Infinity, you can play as just about any character. But if you go into a battle set, it's like, it has to be for, like, I don't know how many battle sets there are. It has to be for that specific battle set. Now, the real rant about that is the fact that these are both Star Wars. And you would think that they would code it so that Star Wars can easily work with Star Wars. If it's for a completely different battle set like Incredibles or Toy Story, then you would have to get a coin for like Luke to be in that battle set. But no. Luke works with this one. Anakin works with this one. But for these guys, you need a coin, and you need to find a coin for him in this world, and a coin for him in this world, and then they will work. It is so tedious. You not only have to have the character, but also find the coin in that world. But you also have to have a character for that world to be able to find the coin for a different character on said battle set. A whole lot of fiddling. But like I said, that you can have older figurines on the newer sets. And not being able to play newer figurines on the older sets is not that bad, considering the number of figurines that are for each set. I'd say maybe 50 for the original. I've not researched that all that much. But yeah, you can be. I almost think that it's like 50 to 100 for each new Skylanders game released, of which I have about 4 games, but I think there's a 5th one out already, and they also coming out with another one that is like the Imagination. And I'm not likely to monetize this since I'm doing a whole bunch of game advertising, not to mention bashing Skylanders, even though Disney's not doing great with them. And real cool thing is these little gems for the Trap Team. So and I've seen the portal power for the superchargers, and they actually keep the little Trap Team gem thing attached. So Skylanders is like uber cool, and the figurines are like really sweet. It's like dragons, which I'm a little obsessed with. And ironically, I think the thing that did Disney Infinity, even though they say that their sales were not that great, I think in reality they were trying to compete with Skylanders. And I do not know when, I'm not sure when the originals were released, but I think Skylanders had at least one, if not, is that Skylanders 2? I think so. They had 2 Skylanders games out by the time Disney Infinity released their first one. So Skylanders basically had 1, or I guess you could almost say 1.5 games released by the time another Disney Infinity game was released. Which I think if you're I think that was they started with that kind of downfall. Basically, these guys were releasing way more in the amount of time it was taking them to release the games themselves. And then the next part was basically you had to find coins to have the characters play with each other. Well, if one kid has Disney Infinity, the other one has Skylanders, and one kid goes over and they're playing Skylanders, they just abruptly put in another disc. The kid who has this might, not knowing anything, just going based off of what they see in front of them, saying, you can't do that, don't you have to find the coin? But then he just puts an old figurine on it and it works. So, I think that was another kind of issue for the Disney Infinity series not lasting long. I'd say the only plus thing about these is the figurines look very cool. And I wish they would at least have put out more of those Disney figurines. Because, like, I was actually waiting for a release of Ariel or, like, the Atlantis series. And yeah, that's about it. But they're only releasing 2 more, which is like Alice and Finding Dory, which I found that info out online. But yeah, it's like everyone was hoping for, like, oh, I hope this movies from this figures from this movie is released, or this series, or this other game. But yeah. It just took so long in doing all their stuff, like coding and then basically battle set locking almost. But yeah, they caused their own downfall taking so long. I feel like I've done 2 rants in one. Which is all Skyland. It's like Skylanders is way cool, and then Disney Infinity just has way too many, like, how to say this? Because you have to find the character for the battle set, then you need I guess it's a similar thing with Skylanders, that you have to make sure you have the right Skylander for that set. But really, if you have Skylanders for like if you have like 1 or 2 Skylanders for the first series, you can easily play the others, I believe. I've never tried that. I probably should try like playing through the newer ones, maybe with just like Green Base, which I think Green Base is Green Base, which is for the original. But yeah, oh, let me do yeah, it has so many, I guess, locks that you have to have that specific requirement to be able to play a game. The hub is fine, and the hub world seems to be like for half the age of what the battle sets are, like in Star Wars. I'm horrible at racing. You need to have like fairly good flying and driving skills in the game, and then shooting game, unless you're basically going like that. That's me trying to do a controller motion of triggering. And just shooting at everything on the screen. Maybe you're lucky to actually hit something, depending on your age. But yeah, the hub world is very childish. It's pretty, but I think it's a little childish. And I think that's about it for kind of bashing Disney Infinity and my little rant. Basically saying Skylanders is better, not to mention Disney Infinity is canceling it. Of which I probably should wait on putting this rant out until maybe the last Disney Infinity figurine set is released, and then I will put this out. Even though I think everyone probably knows about all that. So, yeah. Laters!